For 25 years, Farfetch'd has served as a reliable punchline. Players know this bird not for its raw power, but for wandering around swinging a green onion at things. In the original games, it was a mechanical disappointment with terrible stats. Yet, because of its quirky design and memorable early game trades, fans developed a deep attachment to it. That created a persistent trade-off. If you put Farfetch'd on your team, you actively handicapped yourself to keep a beloved mascot around. Nostalgia always came at the direct expense of utility. Then the Galar region introduced a regional form and a highly aggressive evolution, Farfetch'd. Suddenly, the joke evolutionary line had actual, viable numbers backing it up. This forces a real choice. Players now have to weigh the iconic rarity of the original Cantonian design against the functional viability of the modern Galarian variant. To figure out which one is actually worth your time, we have to recognize that Farfetch'd doesn't exist in a vacuum. It spans 4 entirely different gaming ecosystems. We have to look at the priorities of VGC competitive players, Pokémon Go completionists, TCG investors, and casual lore fans. This chart maps out those 4 distinct spaces: the TCG market, Pokémon Go, competitive mainline, and casual or lore-driven play. When we plot the original Cantonian bird and the Galarian forms onto this matrix, they drift toward completely opposite ends of the spectrum. So, with multiple versions scattered across these different platforms, where should you actually spend your time, money, and team slots? We're going to evaluate the exact return on investment, or ROI, across the major ecosystems. That is the only way to see exactly where to commit your resources and what you should ignore entirely. Let's start with the trading card game, treating these cards strictly as financial assets. This line graph tracks Farfetch'd's recent market performance. Across 32 tracked cards, the average price sits at a meager $4.34, and the year-to-date trajectory is down 14.2. Acquiring one requires heavy resource input. You either have to travel internationally, coordinate a specific trade, or burn remote raid passes during a rare global event. This table contrasts Cantonian Farfetch'd against high-level play requirements. Its maximum combat power caps at a low 1397, well below a top-tier attacker baseline. Furthermore, its normal flying typing leaves it vulnerable to rock, electric, and ice attacks. If you take those low stats and that weak defensive profile into a gym battle or a raid, you become an active detriment to your group's overall damage output. In Pokémon Go, Cantonian Farfetch'd demands massive acquisition effort to act as simple Pokédex filler, providing absolutely zero combat utility once you catch it. That brings us to the mainline competitive scene, covering VGC and Smogon formats. This stat breakdown graphic shows exactly why Cantonian Farfetch'd is historically unviable. It carries a low 377 base stat total and an attack stat that hovers between an abysmal 65 and an average 90. It also has zero defensive bulk. If an opponent lands almost any standard attacking move, Farfetch'd will faint before it ever gets a chance to strike back. Because of this, bringing it to a tournament carries extreme meme value. It's the ultimate flex to bring a frail duck against legendary monsters. Players actually have pulled this off. A competitor named Danny Hernandez infamously won a major Madrid tournament with a Cantonian Farfetch'd on his roster, using it for speed control with the move Tailwind. But we have to be clear about what that means. Winning a viral match with Cantonian Farfetch'd means you are willingly sacrificing team consistency purely for a joke. If you actually want mechanical reliability, you have to look at the Galarian variant and its evolution, Farfetch'd. Looking at this side-by-side comparison matrix, the shift is obvious. Farfetch'd leaves the 377 base stat total behind, upgrading to a massive 135 attack stat. It drops the normal flying combination entirely, adopting a pure fighting typing that greatly improves offensive coverage. Its true competitive advantage is the ability Scrappy. This allows its fighting type attacks to hit ghost types, bypassing standard immunities and making its close combat attack incredibly difficult to switch into safely. It also gains access to First Impression, a high-damage priority move that lets it check faster, more dangerous threats before they can move. It does have one major mechanical drawback, a sluggish base 65 speed. To use Farfetch'd effectively, you have to build specific support into your team, like relying on Trick Room to flip the turn order and give it speed control. Farfetch'd demands strict team support, but if you provide it, it rewards you by acting as a premium wall breaker that yields high win rates. It's time to make a definitive choice on where to spend your time and resources. This flowchart maps out 3 core goals. You are either trying to make a profit, complete a Pokédex, or win matches. If your goal is profit, the data tells you to stay away from TCT Farfetch'd singles. If your goal is Dex completion, your target is Pokémon Go, where you invest legwork to acquire the Cantonian Regional. If your goal is winning matches, the competitive mainline path leads directly to Galarian Farfetch'd. Ultimately, if you embrace the Cantonian Original, you gain immense nostalgic collector value, but you forfeit all mechanical optimization. If you take the Galarian route, you gain a highly lethal competitive tool, but you lose the quirky, underdog identity of the original 151 bird. Confine the Cantonian Original strictly to your Pokédex and your casual collections. When it's time for serious battles, bring the Galarian variant.